Alrighty, welcome back, folks. So you can see the studio is kind of a mess right now. This is my office. It's in the middle of remodeling, so pardon the rather boring decor at the moment. I'm in the process of redoing everything. All the desks is going to be going and all sorts of stuff that you don't care about. But anyway. So for today's video, I thought I would talk about my experiences of getting back into reading regularly, and also reviewing the books that I've highlighting a few books that I read over the last year. Kind of a, you know, since it's the beginning, near the end of a year, the beginning of a year, people start doing the year in review stuff. So figure we do one as well. So anyway, I'll be highlighting a few books and talking about a couple of things that I've learned along the way, in being more consistent with my reading. So anyway, yeah. So looking at my Goodreads, I have. I had the little staff with my year in books or whatever, and it's 4,415 pages read or whatever, and 14 books read. Most of those books I've done reviews on. There's still a few that I haven't done a review on, and a few that I won't be doing a review on, at least on their own. I would say 12 of those are like books that I actually read through. A couple of them I kind of skimmed. But anyway, so my pace has been about, according to this, has been about a book a month. So that's what I think I'm going to do for my goal for my review videos, is to have one review video a month. And then every other 2 weeks or so, I might have some other video on some other topic, either a review on some product or whatever, or me jibber jabbering like this. Not that you guys care about my upload schedule, but I think that'll be a little bit more sustainable pace, because I'm not going to become a YouTuber, right? So we got to keep this hobby manageable. I don't want to overload myself. Anyway, so yeah, I have. If anybody's paying attention to the last couple of the last year of my reading, has actually been paying attention, you realize that there was like a huge gap in the reading and stuff that stalled for like 3 or 4 months or something like that. It's because I got stuck on some books that I just didn't want to pick up, and it was just hard to trudge through, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And so, things got blocked really for a long time. And one of the things that I learned is, just if the book's not, you're not feeling the book or whatever, I'm very much a completionist type of person. I got to just get that out of my head and just put the book aside. You can come back to it later, maybe. I think I had Tell the Two Cities was one of them that I got a little stuck on. And I just wasn't feeling that book, so I just put it aside, and I just, that, I don't know if that's OCD or autism, or what that is, but not being able to just put something away incomplete. But anyway, that really bothered me, but I think that's something I've learned to deal with better. Also, probably the most effective thing that I found. So every morning I have a walk or a run. First thing in the morning. So if you don't know, if you want to make sure that your body clock or whatever is running on regular schedule, the key that I've heard, and it seems to be true at least for myself, is getting light on your skin like first thing in the morning. So I always, as soon as I get up, I don't have a cup of coffee, I don't do anything. I literally just put on clothes. It's cold right now, so put on enough clothes to stay warm, and then I'm out the door and I go walk in this church that's nearby in the church parking lot. And I walk a mile, and I get that light on my skin and in my eyes like first thing in the morning, and it's hugely beneficial, like for making sure my sleep schedule is really on point. But during that time, that's about 20 or 30 minutes, depending on whether it's a walk or a run, that I have just idle time. So I started doing audiobooks, and that has been working fantastically. Before, I was just either silence, or I made for a while there, I was making videos during that. But I didn't have enough to talk about, every morning for a daily vlog. I'm not, Casey Neistat or whatever it is. He spends all day making videos or whatever. Like it's a one and done for me. It's got to be done in 15 or 20 minutes, right? And it just made for crappy videos. Anyway, you guys don't care. Uh, um, and I didn't want to. I'm a big music lover, so I listen to music. But the thing is I'd either listen to the same thing today, or I'd be like half asleep trying to find new music, and it was just too much of. But with audiobook, I've chosen which book that I'm reading, and I just press play. Every day, it's almost the same thing. Most days it's just continuing the book. So and I'm getting a ton more reading done. Technically it's audiobooks, but we'll call it reading. I'm calling it reading, and I've been. It's been a huge boon. Is that time in the morning, doing two things that I should be doing: the walk, the morning sun, and also getting reading in first thing in the morning. It's been working out fantastic. I would highly recommend it to anybody. If you have even if you don't do the morning routine, walk or whatever, if you go to the gym regularly and you're on the treadmill or whatever, just do an audiobook there instead of watching Netflix or something like that. It's a great time to do that kind of activity. Um, that has been working fantastically. I started that at the end of last year. So we've got a bunch of books in the queue. These are actually all done. That I many of them I did audiobooks for. Audiobook for, and the book is just a trophy, right? Just because I like having the physical book on, so I'm like, yeah, I read that, but it's purely for my ego. But it's been working fantastic. I would highly recommend it. Yeah, so that's the things that I've learned that has helped me the most reading more. And so the next session of the video, I wanted to talk about some of the things that I did read this, that I think all of these I've done a review for, but I wanted to kind of break it down. Like my favorite and my least favorite, fiction and nonfiction. So 4 books plus a random book that I just had to mention again because it's fantastic. So let's start with the nonfiction. So so let's just start with my favorite, and let's start on a positive note. Nonfiction, and it's so silly. It's this intellectual devotional. I think I got this at for a Christmas gift or a birthday present from one of my aunts one year, like 10 years ago or something like that, and I finally got around to sitting around reading. This book is great. You just put it by the toilet, guys. And instead of swiping through Twitter or Facebook, you read this. It's a great way to start reading more. Is to have something in your bathroom at home or whatever that you can just pick up and read. And it's really easy because it's spread into days and stuff, and so you could just read just one little snippet, and by the time you've read that page, you finished with your business. You all know what a toilet reader is, guys, but this is not strictly speaking one of those, but it works great as one of those, and it's a great way to get back into the habit of reading. I highly recommend it. It's great. It just refreshes you on a bunch of topics that you probably know a lot about, but have gotten hazy on the details. So great book. Highly recommend it. My least favorite book in nonfiction, there were several ones, I think, that I guess it wasn't too. How to Die Not Die Alone was marginally useful. Yeah, I read several. I read a couple other ones. There was another book called Influence. You haven't gotten a review for that yet. Make a Stick, which is also another book you guys haven't gotten a review from me yet. Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, wherever. I did that. I did a review on that one, but there was one book. And that's this thing, this Unfair Advantage, how you already have what it takes to succeed. And this book was a waste of time. There's nothing to learn in this book that is not absolute common sense. This isn't me being high and mighty and snooty and, oh, you don't know that kind of person. This is literally just common sense stuff. Like, if you're rich, that's an unfair advantage, and everybody has unfair advantages, and it's you gotta exploit your own. You gotta identify your own. Maybe you got a good social network. Maybe you were poor and learn how to be miserly, and like, none of that. There's no revolutionary idea in here. It's not bringing it together in an interesting way or cohesive way. It's literally just common sense stuff that, and every time I start harping on this book, I see this little thing. It's all the book. It says Business Book of the Year 2021. I'm like, I don't even know how this ended up in my queue. I think it was one of those productivity YouTubers or whatever recommended me, and I was like, every book hits people differently or whatever, but I really just don't see how anybody could. I harped on this book bad enough. This is the worst productivity, nonfiction / productivity book that I read this year. Do not pick this book up, or be wary if you decide to start it. It's anyway, yeah. Yeah. Oh, let's do one up and one down. Okay, so I don't have the book on hand. The next book is the best fiction book that I read this year, and that was easily Zora Neale Hurston's "Their Eyes Were Watching God." My mother snatched that book up for me. It's on loan to her right now, so I can't show it to you, but fantastic book. I don't want. This almost seems like it should be insulting to say it this way, but I mean it in an endearing way. It's like a black Steel Magnolias. It's kind of like a slice of life kind of thing, but it's following just one lady's life, bits and pieces of this the main character's life. She gets married like 3 different times or something like that, and different stages of her life. But it's just, and it's got all these little slices of like southern the book is just southern through and through. I don't actually know how good the book is to somebody who's not southern, because maybe I'm pretty sure it's a good book to anybody, but I think if you are southern, it just hits that little bit extra because you recognize all these characters that are in the book very, very plainly. And it's very endearing. It's a very heartful story, and I just loved it. It was great. And I'm not usually. It's technically, I guess you would call it a romance, and I've never been. I haven't read. I don't know if I've read any romance books now that I think of it, but it's not like what I imagine would be whatever Twilight or anything, romance books. What is the other one? The Gray book or whatever it is. It's not that. Not that I've read those books, but I don't imagine it's like that. It's not a hot and steamy romance book. Let's put it that way. It's, you know, a romanticized romance, or anyway, realistic romance. Great book. Highly recommend it. It's just lovely. I think it. I think that people actually recommend it. Like this is one of the books that God recommended that was pushed on us from in college, and most of those books I hated. But this turned out to be one of the ones that I really liked. So that's from the Q from English Comp or whatever. So anyway, yeah, if you have a chance to pick that book up and read it, I would definitely read it. Anyway, the next one, going back to the downbeat, is another one of those English lits, and I can't believe it was this year. It's hard to believe it is. Maybe I marked it down wrong when I completed it or whatever, but we're going to talk about it anyway. It is The Stranger by Albert Camus, which apparently he's a philosopher or something or other, and this is the winner of Nobel Prize in Literature, right? This is a hoity-toity book. I've seen people raving about how great this book is. For me, this was very childish, like teenage angst kind of. I don't care about anything, you know. I forget what the word is escaping me, but I'm like, nothing matters, and nothing's real, and you know, it's that the book. There's nothing compelling about the book. The protagonist just kind of stumbles his way through the story. It doesn't really make any sense. He doesn't have any driving behaviors, which fits with the whole point of the book being nothing matters, everything's random, kind of teenage angsty thing. Or maybe this was like really edgy, like back in the day. I can imagine a lot of teenagers were like really identifying with this book, but as a 40-something-year-old man reading this book, I'm like, get real, you know. This is, yeah, wasn't my cup of tea. I did not like The Stranger by Albert Camus. So we're not going to end on a downbeat. This is another one of the English comp books that got forced on us, and I think we got a few left, but the pickings are getting slim for the books that I never read from college. But anyway. And last but not least, the random / honorable mention is Sly Flourishes, The Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. I got into D&D over the last year or two or something, and I've started running my own games instead of just playing in the games. And so learning how to prepare for games in a timely fashion and in an organized fashion that makes me actually feel prepared before the game, and I'm not just pulling everything out of my butt. Fantastic book. Sly Flourishes, Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. Could not recommend it enough. I recommend it over the official Dungeon Masters guide. Not that you should skip it. It still has a lot of useful stuff into it. I think we got to do a review on it at some point. Or maybe I did with the rest of the core books. It doesn't matter. You guys don't care. So yeah, that's it for today. We're running up on 20 minutes. We're actually about 5 minutes over time. So anyway, yeah, so that's the year in review. Like I said, we'll probably going to one review month, and then if I'm getting like a little too far ahead in my book reading, then we'll add an extra in the month, or maybe an extra random video, a product review or something like that. So the goal is to have a video out at least every 2 weeks, but only one of those will be a book review, most likely. Because I don't want to kill myself reading anymore, trying to read anymore. It's not the highest priority. As much as important as reading is, it's not. There's some other things that are more that have a higher priority, right? Like actually working on projects that'll make you money, unlike this YouTube thing. All right. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys probably in, I don't know, 2 weeks or so. Okay, take it easy.